Welcome to the video. Today we will demystify your 401k rollover choices when changing jobs and show you how to protect and grow your retirement nest egg. First, we will frame the decision and common anxieties. Next, we will compare your three main options, then dive into asset allocation for long horizons, including whether target date funds are too conservative for younger investors. Finally, we will end with a step-by-step rollover checklist, quick quizzes, and key takeaways. When you change jobs, you face a critical decision about your old 401k. This choice can impact decades of compounding, so it is important to focus on fundamentals. In this video, we will help you prioritize the right factors and remove anxiety about switching platforms. Here is the plan. First, we cover the rollover choices. Then, we discuss platform anxiety and what actually matters. After that, we break down each option in detail. Next, we address asset allocation for long time horizons. We then walk through a step-by-step guide to execute a rollover. Finally, we do quick quizzes and wrap up with key takeaways. Disclaimer: this content is for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, investment, tax, or legal advice. Everyone's situation is different, so consult a qualified professional before making decisions. There are three primary options. First, you can leave the money in your old 401k. Contrary to common belief, you usually can still rebalance or change allocations in that account whenever you wish. Second, you can roll the funds into your new employer's 401k, but do this only if the new plan offers superior low-cost funds and high-quality choices. Third, you can roll to an IRA, which is often favored for maximum control and the broadest set of investment options. As we proceed, we will compare these choices in depth. This flowchart begins with the central question of what to do with your old 401k after changing jobs. It then branches into the three options: staying in the old 401k, rolling to the new 401k, or rolling to an IRA. A decision point asks whether the new plan offers low fees and broad index funds. If yes, it points toward rolling into the new 401k. If not, it suggests considering an IRA for greater flexibility. The chart highlights that staying is viable if fees and fund quality are acceptable, and that you can still rebalance. It also emphasizes prioritizing low-cost index funds or appropriate target date funds over brand names or user interface quality, which is relatively unimportant if you only log in infrequently. On the left, we have a focus on brand and user experience. This includes attractive interfaces, a well-known financial brand, and advanced mobile app features, but may include limited or higher fee fund menus. On the right, we have the focus that actually matters: access to low-cost index funds and low expense ratio target date funds, broad and unrestricted choices, transparent fees, and the ability to rebalance easily. The right side consistently contributes more to long-term returns than a fancy interface. Option 1 is to leave your funds in the old 401k. The advantages include no paperwork, familiarity, and sometimes access to institutional share classes with lower expense ratios. Importantly, you can still rebalance the existing holdings. Usually there is a specific feature in the portal labeled Rebalance Existing Assets. However, if the plan's fees are high or the fund menu is weak, your long-term growth can be impaired, so you need to verify the costs and choices. Option 2 is rolling your old 401k into your new employer's plan. This makes sense only if the new plan has better funds and lower fees than your old plan. Benefits can include consolidating accounts, potential access to plan loans, and easy alignment with payroll deferrals. However, some plans have limited investment menus or higher costs, so you should compare expense ratios and fund quality before initiating the rollover. Option 3 is rolling into an IRA. This is favored by many because it provides maximum control and access to a broad universe of low-cost index funds and ETFs, such as VTI or VTSAX. You are no longer constrained by an employer plan menu. However, consider how a pre-tax IRA may affect backdoor Roth strategies, and be aware that creditor protections differ by state compared to ERISA protections in 401k plans. This table summarizes cost and choice dimensions. Staying in the old 401k can offer institutional share classes, but depends on the plan's lineup. Rolling to the new 401k is also dependent on its menu and fees. Target a low expense ratio for core index funds, ideally under 10 basis points. Rolling to an IRA often provides the lowest costs and broadest selection. Rebalancing is available in all options, but customization is highest in an IRA. Quiz time. The question is, when does it make the most sense to roll your old 401k into your new employer's 401k? Option A, whenever you change jobs regardless of fees. Option B, only when the new plan has lower fees and better fund choices. Option C, never. Always use an IRA. Option D, only if the new plan's app looks better. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is only when the new plan has lower fees and better fund choices. The decisive factor is the quality of the investment lineup and the expense ratios, not the appearance of the app or the default choice to always roll or never roll. Now let us address asset allocation. If you are in your early 30s with more than 30 years until retirement, many experts suggest a higher equity allocation to maximize compounding. We will evaluate target date funds versus constructing a simple, low-cost index fund portfolio. This mind map places asset allocation at the center and radiates the key factors. Time horizon points toward a higher equity tilt for long compounding periods. Volatility tolerance acknowledges the need to stay invested during drawdowns. Target date funds provide convenience and include bonds. With attention to expense ratios, a do-it-yourself index portfolio can use a total market stock index with an optional bond sleeve at ultra-low expense ratios. Rebalancing can be annual or based on thresholds. Risk management includes maintaining an emergency fund, diversifying, and practicing behavioral discipline. Tax strategy involves asset location and deciding between Roth and traditional contributions. Target date funds are convenient and automatically shift toward bonds as you age, which may mean holding around 10% bonds even in your early 30s. Over a 30-plus year horizon, bonds can reduce potential growth. Building your own allocation can be as simple as selecting a single low-cost broad market index fund, such as VTSAX or VTI, if you are comfortable with near 100% equities. However, you must match your allocation to your personal risk tolerance and be willing to rebalance at least annually. This pie chart shows one example allocation for an investor around age 30 with a long horizon: 90% equities and 10% bonds. The point is to illustrate a higher equity tilt consistent with long-term compounding, while still allowing a small bond sleeve for stability if desired. Actual allocations should reflect personal risk tolerance. Here is a short Markdown-style checklist for allocations. The core idea is maximizing low-cost equities over long horizons, and an example do-it-yourself construction is total U.S. plus total international or a global total market fund. Rebalance once per year or when allocations deviate by more than 5%. Keep expense ratios as low as possible, ideally under 10 basis points. This timeline lays out the typical sequence. First, inventory your old 401k holdings, fees, and statements. Next, compare the new employer plan menu and possible IRA providers. Then, choose your destination. If needed, open the receiving account. Request a direct, trustee-to-trustee rollover to avoid tax withholding. Once the funds arrive, invest according to your target allocation. Annually, rebalance and check costs. Here is a practical process. Step 1. Collect old 401k statements and record fund tickers, expense ratios, and balances. Step 2. Compare your old plan with the new plan and IRA options, prioritizing low fees and broad index choices. Step 3. Decide your destination and open the account if needed. Step 4. Request a direct trustee-to-trustee rollover to avoid the 20% withholding that can occur with indirect rollovers. Step 5. Track the transfer and confirm the assets arrive as cash or in kind. Step 6. Deploy the funds into your target low-cost allocation, such as a total market index or an appropriate target date fund. Step 7. Set reminders to rebalance annually and review fees. Second quiz. The question is, with a 30-plus year horizon, which approach most directly maximizes expected long-term growth, assuming you can tolerate volatility? Option A, keep 20 to 30% in bonds for safety. Option B, hold 100% equities via a broad low-cost index fund. Option C, rotate sectors based on headlines. Option D, prioritize the platform with the best app interface. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to hold 100% equities via a broad, low-cost index fund, provided you can tolerate volatility. Over very long horizons, equities have historically delivered higher returns than bonds, which increases compounding potential. However, individual risk tolerance remains essential. These are the main takeaways. Focus on fees and fund quality, not brand or app design. Staying in the old 401k can be fine, and you can usually rebalance. Roll to the new 401k only, when its lineup is clearly superior. IRA rollovers provide maximum control and variety. With a multi-decade horizon, consider a higher equity allocation if you can handle volatility. Rebalance annually, and monitor costs. To summarize, choose your destination by comparing fund quality and costs. When in doubt, choose simplicity with a total market index fund or a low expense ratio target date fund. Execute a direct rollover and invest promptly rather than staying in cash. Automate contributions, rebalance annually, and remain disciplined through market cycles. Thank you for watching. If this was helpful, please like the video, share it with someone who is changing jobs, and subscribe for more content. In the comments, tell us which option you would choose and why.